I'd like to call the meeting to order, and Mr. Tadlock, would you do a roll call, please?
I will. Mr. Andre.
Here.
Mr. Gayheart.
Here.
Mayor Gordon.
Here.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Here.
Mrs. Costa.
Here.
Mrs. Reckles, she is excused. Mr. Garrett.
Here.
Okay, this meeting has been noticed for state statutes, and so we'll move on to community participation. I did receive one card for a person to speak, and so I'll just read a short statement before we get started with that. Prior to making a statement, please be aware that each speaker bears the personal risk if anything they say during community participation in the school board meeting is defamatory, slanderous, or otherwise harmful to another individual. And also please make sure that you've registered at the door and put your, and if you would, when you come up, state your name and where you're from. And it'll be Jolene Singleton, sorry.
Gonna sit at the table.
You can sit or stand, either way.
I'll sit. All right, Jolene Singleton, resident of Elkhorn, also a parent with 4 boys in the district. I just wanted to come and do kind of a collaboration on things, just to kind of let you guys know what some of the voices are who can't come to the meetings. So thank you, first off, for the time to speak tonight. It's hard to make it here, so please don't take any of this lightly. I represent many of the voices tonight, including those of families that have 4+ kids trying to manage the chaos, the farm families who are cutting hay or tending animals, the community members who are working 2 to 3 jobs to cover their own budget shortfalls, and those sporting families who are back in the swing of it or never got to slow down. We know it all too well, as rodeo is a big time spent in my family. With that being said, we have concerns. Our concerns lie within the referendum and why some of the community members from the annual meeting want you, the school board, to accept it. Did the results of the survey come back in favor of the budget ideas, or is the referendum asking the community for more money? If you think the voice of the community is in favor of giving the school district more money, that would not be the correct answer. The reason is they have or are losing trust in the abilities of you all. A true leader in the time of a budget crisis would not give themselves a raise or keep it at a minimum increase to support their troops. The troops needing to make better decisions when the need is there. I am assuming the trust loss started with COVID and has progressed to the transgender lawsuit and all that the district is allowing, such as the gender support plans. These are things that either did not have favorable outcomes or are destroying the public school. People are not in favor of having a student who clearly needs mental support and guidance allowed to pick and choose what bathroom he uses during the school day. This is a major disruption to the students who attend public school. If you are doing things to protect these students from this disruption, then we have not heard about it. All the news stories are about the student getting granted things and then in turn allowing other students of the same needed mental support wanting to join the opposite sex sports, such as softball. The district has their hands full right now, and we need action before we are willing to open up our pocketbooks. Have the budget checked for loose ends, figure out what makes money and increase it. Stop squeezing those small chunks of the budget pie and really look at the large chunk. Have the gender support plans ran by a credentialed person with an end goal to graduate out of. An IEP has goals, so should this. Reduce the number of kids in the plans, not let it increase. You are not protecting these kids once they graduate and are thrown out into the real world from suicidal thoughts that supposedly brought them to believe that they are of the opposite gender. Schools should not be bending over for these kids. Parents and the schools are saying enough is enough and want to reduce the entitlement that these children and their parents think they are owed. It is time to say no. In closing, you all have a big job to represent those of us who are not at every meeting, to maintain the sanctuary of the public school system and have those who are unable to function within that system enjoy the many other school choices this district provides. Good luck and may you look above for guidance when choosing how to handle what is about to explode in our district. This bomb has many threats to it. Please be the bomb diffusers and gain the trust back, and the money will come. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to, the action track chair presentation.
Good evening, all. Thanks for allowing me to come in today. My name is David Cruz. I'm one of the agricultural education inspectors at high school. Wasn't too long ago, this spring, is that I and a few other staff members came and shared out with you an update about some of the stuff that we've been doing with our school forest property. We've had some things that have kind of sped up since then, and which is why we're here tonight. Primarily, one is key emphasis. We're looking to have you consider a donation on behalf of the Elkhorn FFA alumni and supporters. But we figured I'd kind of explain what that project is or what that money is intended to be used for. So this fall or this summer in June, when school's out, I pulled up a report for my students that I have coming up this fall, and one of the students that I had last fall, I noticed that this individual has signed up for our forestry class, and our forestry class is probably out of a trimester, is probably outside at least 20 days. And we are out and about working with school forest, on school grounds. But this particular student is also a student who is confined to a wheelchair. And so again, looking to provide those opportunities. Providing mobility access was going to be an issue down the road, but this definitely pushes pretty quickly as we go through that. So it's not a new topic, but really the sense is what we're looking to do is the Elkhorn Ag Department. We've been trying to facilitate conversations with our Elkhorn FA alumni and support group, working with administrators, building administrators, district administrators, Emily Lind with special education, and really looking to go through the process of seeking to secure the purchase of a motorized, it's called Action Track Chair, which it is a motorized track-based wheelchair, which is designed to get the user off pavement, out and about, and get in and explore and doing those different types of items. So we met about 4 weeks ago. Chad Hermanson is one of the dealing reps from Evansville, and as you go through those, but he came on out for the chance for us to demonstrate with us and do those different types of things. So as we go through that, he shared with us 3 different versions and 3 different models. And to be honest, the one that we're recommending is we're actually going with one that's got a few more bells on it, but we think for longer term, it's probably a better choice for multiple students. And actually, since this process, I also have one of our 2 high school students who is also in a wheelchair has signed up for my wildlife class and natural resource management, which would also be using this process. But so we have a need, and so we've been using. We spend a lot of time in the outdoor learning spaces, the wetland, and the wild, and the school forest between the middle school and high school. We are out there often in a multitude of those classes. But we looked at some different items, and they're looking at some different outreach programs. We're looking to make that possible. Okay, and so part of my role is in the last couple months, month and a half, has been having conversations. So we put together a budget. The track chair that we're looking at has a purchase price of $20,270, which is shipping, delivery, and Chad's going to provide training, and we'll talk about some of those different dynamics that go with it. Financing sources. Emily Lind had said that she would be able to allocating $5,000 from special education to help make that happen. The high school budget, Mr. Keel said he'd be able to find $2,000 of that. And at this point, the Elkhorn FA alumni and supporters is our tremendous community support group, which supports a lot of parts about agriculture education at the bank. They've committed to providing up to $13,270 to basically cover that difference for the purchase of the chairs. National FFA alumni has a scholarship program. Amy Cruz behind me, her and I are working together to apply for that. We're waiting for that. We're hoping that will also provide $5,000 of that. If that grant does not go through, the local FFA alumni is going to fill that gap. as we go through those different dynamics. So that's the short term. It's kind of a two-phase project. First and foremost is get the chair and make it available, make it accessible. And then down the road, also within the school year, is looking at getting a type of enclosed trailer for storage and short-term transportation as we need. And that trailer, there's been multiple needs where we think about where we could use that other places in the ag department prior to this purpose. And so we could see that being multi-purpose down the road as well. So in a sense, what we're looking for tonight is I provided Mr. Tadlock a donation form, basically indicating basically kind of two cash donations. The first one is an amount of $1,270, or $700, yes, thank you, sorry. So as we go through that, and then that second one would be whether when that grant comes in from the alumni, the National FA alumni, or if we need to do it as a follow-up.
Should it be 270? Because on the PowerPoint, it's.
Yeah.
It probably should be
the
270. It should be 270. Yep, so I'll
Okay.
change that. My apologies. Yep. So again, now we'll take a lot of time. It is pretty exciting. When we visit with probably the long sales call. We spent a lot of time asking lots of questions about the project and the chair. But as we want to bring this to you, see if this is something that the school board is willing to accept and move forward with, so we can provide those opportunities. And I guess I'm open up to any questions that you may have.
So just to be clear.
Yep.
The 5,000 from the special education funding is already part of the projected budget for
Yes,
2024.
yes, yep, allocation
25.
is.
And so it's not increasing our budget,
Correct,
she's allocating funds that she already has available to her
correct.
in her
Yes.
budget.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the same thing.
Same
the high
thing
school
with the
budget.
high school budget.
Yes.
Just wanted to be clear on that.
You mentioned the enclosed trailer, and that is for storage, but it also using to.
Potential transport, I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
No,
Question,
and
sorry.
potential transport,
yep.
that's fine. What's it gonna be hitched to?
So more likely would be, we'd have to have those conversations about, whether it would be, a school vehicle or whether designated ag teacher as you need. That's ag teacher's vehicle, not him, but designated ag teacher's vehicle as part of that mix. And that would be, those would be some of those insurance questions that we'd have to flesh out as part of phase 2.
And the trailer would be specific use just for this.
This one, I would say probably collected for the, I could see it being used collectively for multiple
For-
things with the agriculture
Yeah,
department.
for the agricultural department.
Right, so like when we do some multiple purpose things, so like, for example, when we are doing some of our other outreach programs for the elementary schools, when we can say, all right, we can load our stuff up there, take supplies and.
And
Make
they
that
have a
process.
nice storage area off of the head house on the greenhouse there,
Right.
the garage there.
Right, we'd
It's
like to
good
be
to
sort of
keep
in
it
that
there.
fenced in area. In the greenhouse.
I'd say get together with Mr. Sargent because he wants a trailer too.
Oh, there you go.
Like,
Yeah,
full
that's-
of wood all the time then.
Anybody have any other questions?
I just wanna really thank Dave for being proactive and seeing and recognizing.
Yeah.
We have a student with accessibility challenges on taking that course and be proactive.
Well, it sounds like there's more than one student, right?
Yep.
Jump on this.
Well, at this point, looking at LF2 this year, different classes,
Yeah.
fortunately, which will help with that process.
Yeah,
I think that's great to go out and find a solution and find the funding for it as well. So
Yep.
thank you very much.
And kudos to the alumni too. That's
yeah, because for the alumni and the FFA, I mean, that's a combined, it could be potentially a combined total of over $21,000 in
Right.
donations. So.
Yeah, no, and they are, that group, when I talk to leadership and put this in front of them, they are very excited about the idea and the concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put a lot of time volunteering and they appreciate they can help provide and make something like this happen.
Yeah, we do have an amazing FFA alumni in this area. They've done a lot. Okay, we're looking for a motion to approve the generous donation from the FFA. Just to remind you that you are approving the other two financing sources from the special ed fund and the high school budget.
I move to approve the generous donation from the FFA alumni as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the generous donation from the FFA alumni. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you all very much. We will likely have this before the school year starts.
That's awesome.
So we'll have a introduction for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is our community grant writer presentation.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Jason, it's your favorite. It's Canva.
They're open, that's all I can.
If you could go to the next slide, please. Just to reintroduce myself, hi, no, not yet. I'm Katie James, I'm the community grant writer. I receive funding through Fund 80 to take care of the needs of the Elkhorn Area School District, the City of Elkhorn, and the Elkhorn Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Center. What that means is that I basically source funding for our entire geographic area, about 100-mile radius, the businesses, the school district, and the city throughout our area to see if I can bring some public and private funding to help our needs. I wanted to give you a recap of the past year, what I've been doing. As predicted, my position evolved a bit this year. You can see, particularly with the city, where I took a greater role in the Elkhorn Economic Development Alliance and really focusing on work toward rehabilitating our downtown business district. The Chamber and the EASD role stayed about the same. All right, so let's talk about the grants. I have two parts I wanted to chat about today. This year I submitted 24 applications for a total of about $9.9 million. Before we go on to the rest of it, I just wanted to say that is actually 5 fewer applications than I submitted last year and about $7.8 million less. That's because I was really throwing darts at a board. I was trying for any time I got an application, I thought, sure, I'll try it. And I really got to spend the last 12 months focusing on what we can win. So working smarter, not harder, really was my mantra this year because I almost burned myself out in the first 12 months. I lost 9 of those projects. Jason knows he still had to peel me off the ceiling because I hate to lose. I'm still waiting on 4 of those, and I won 11 grants this year, which is 2 more than last. Altogether, my funding totaled about $5.1 million. It's really hard to determine and give a start and a finish. Right now, those 4 grants represent another $2 million that I'm waiting to hear on. So it's hard for me to say what I did the last 12 months, but I was awarded since the last time we talked $5.1 million. Some of the highlights for EASD, the Options Virtual Charter expansion. I won the next 50,000 from the Department of Energy in the Energy Class Prize. And the one that actually we just got announced last week was the upgrades to the high school culinary kitchen to make improvements to their, they got a new refrigerator, new ovens, and all new microwaves to really bring the skills that they're learning in that classroom, what the needs, so that it better reflects the needs of our region of the hospitality and tourism industry. They're learning on the equipment that they will then use when they graduate. And on the next slide, please, is the city side, the city and the chamber. We were awarded a $3.3 million congressional allocation for our safe drinking water project, which will go toward the Lakeland water treatment plant. And the other one that I'm proud of, it's not always the big ones that make me the most excited, $20,000 from AARP. It's one of the most competitive grants in the country. And we won that to make improvements to the dementia-friendly park that's going to be next to the Chamber of Commerce. The last time we did talk last year, I had an idea. So this is my overall performance record. I've submitted 53 in the last 24 months, lost 23. Let's not talk about that. Program canceled, still waiting. So I'm at $6.1 million. The lost is the one that I asked for your support with. And that was when I had the idea to say, okay, let's talk to the community about this. These are shovel-ready projects where these dreams have already been flushed out and people really want to address the needs of Elkhorn in our area. So I compiled them all into a catalog, if you will. And last fall, I gave it to anyone who is interested in hearing more about it. And it turns out we have a lot of very generous Elkhorn angels in our community. And this is something that I'm most proud of because the community stood up and funded over half the projects themselves, equaling an additional, I can't talk about all of it yet, but it'll be about $1.1 million produced by that little catalog.
That's awesome.
So needless to say, I will be redoing it again in 2024. These are some of the successes that we had last year with the book. Now you'll notice that they don't all mirror each other, because there were people that came to me and they said, Katie, I really want to help. Can you help me with this thing? I don't like anything in the catalog, but I really want to contribute to the community in this way. And I said, absolutely. So either partnering with the school district or partnering with the city. The tennis court shades was an example of that, where someone really thought that would be a great idea. The AED machines for the police department came out of that. And I think early next year, we'll begin to see some murals popping up in downtown due to another Elkhorn angel. The workload balance when I started was really heavily with EASD. Honestly, it's because I came from that family as a volunteer. So it was easiest for me to jump in and I understood the language. Municipal government is a very different animal. So it took me a while to get comfortable in that arena and also get comfortable with the staff there. They were a little nervous. I was a little nervous. So it took a little bit, which is why it's reflected in that number. But this past year, it really shifted. Now that we have a better understanding of how we can work together from City Hall and the ASD and the Chamber of Commerce, it's really flipped to being 58% of my workload is now municipal. I still spend a lot of time here at the district office of the ASD working on those big projects. And then the Chamber of Commerce is really just happy because I meet with a lot of businesses and I meet with a lot of folks who are interested in learning more in the agricultural arena. There's a lot of grants available to small business owners and ag producers, and just guiding them through it, giving advice, making recommendations. I've been editing people who want to work on projects on their own or making recommendations when people are looking for a professional grant writer. I don't write those grants myself, but I've learned a tremendous amount in the last 2 years. And if I can give them some of that advice, I'm more than happy to do so. What's coming next? So clearly another edition of the Elkhorn Community Wish List from those projects that I wasn't able to find federal or state funding for. So that will be coming to a mailbox near you this fall if you're interested. And the other component I wanted to talk about was the Elkhorn Economic Development Alliance. I really worked closely with the city to see if we couldn't impart some of those dollars and infuse our downtown business district to make facade improvements and really put a polish on the buildings downtown. So I rehabbed the application, I worked with the city, and now I'm working with the business owners to take care of those applications. Grant writing can be an intimidating process, and anything I can do to smooth the way for more people to access those available funds, I'm going to do that. And that's my goal for this next year too. And here's my information. I'm always available if you want to chat, if you have questions. More importantly, if you get emailed something, please forward it on. You don't need to read it through and see if it's a good fit. That's my full-time job to check those resources and see if they work for us. And if they are, I'll send them along. If they're not, then we can continue to move on as a group. But I can do it very quickly now versus someone else spending hours of their time trying to see if it's right for us. And more than likely, I know someone else who's already working on something that might fit for it. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
That's great.
I just think it's such a huge return on the investment that you're bringing to the community, to the school district.
For sure.
And thank you for all the work.
Yes.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Second, thank you.
It's been really fun being able to see the impact that you can have. My parents always wanted me to use my writing degree, and I'm finally doing it.
All right. Next is the approval of the school board minutes from the July 22nd. Did anybody have anything that they wanted to add or correct, or if not, then looking for a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the July 22nd, 2024 regular session school board meeting as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the July 22nd, 2024 regular session school board meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. General and other fund bills, Mr. True.
The general other fund bills this evening covers checks number 152-725 through 152-869, wire transfers 113 through 126, and ACH check numbers 028 through 067. The combined amount of $741,022.37. And then there was a memo providing some additional information on several of the bills in your board packet. And this is probably the last bill listing that would include some of last year's notes payables. Otherwise, it's this year's now.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. True?
I have a quick one that I didn't recognize. Norwood County CDEB idea claim.
Yeah, that's for the Lakeland School. So we serve as fiscal agent for part of their federal IDEA funds. So when they file a claim to us, then we submit a reimbursement through the state. So they do that quarterly, so it comes through about 4 times a year.
I have a question on the binders that were purchased for student use. What was that for a particular class?
I think they're used for the Avid system.
Oh, it's for Avid.
So we outfit all of the 4th graders.
Okay.
Their first Avid binder.
Got it.
That then they roll into 5th grade.
Yep.
So it'll cover them for 2 years.
Okay.
And it's a huge savings to families.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge savings. Well, one, because we provide it, but because we buy it in bulk, we get it at a really discount price.
Yep. There was another one that I had a question on.
Same boat, I'm trying to look for it. I thought I jotted a note down and I left it at home.
Frequency drive. Anybody have a question about what a frequency drive is?
Oh, no,
IT,
I got that.
Okay.
I don't, you can tell us though.
It's used to adjust the motor speed within a boiler and within pumps so that you're not using a lot of energy. So it's an energy efficient kind of system.
Frigo, I've heard that word and I can't.
It's our online forms that we have on our webpage.
There you go. I think it came up once
It's
before.
the cheaper version of DocuSign. DocuSign.
I do have a question on an expense, but it's not necessarily a question about the expense itself. It's more on the philosophy of something. So I don't know if this is actually the appropriate time to ask that question, but you know, the middle school field trip to Six Flags. Are those field trips? We're refunded, like parents are paying for those, correct?
Correct, or fundraising and
fundraising,
parents, yeah, so
okay.
anything listed in Fund 21 would be either fundraising, or could be parents paying through fundraising, I guess, or some type of.
So
And it could be a gift as well, but I
Yeah.
don't think it is in this case.
I guess my bigger question, it's not necessarily the expense because the parents are paying for it ultimately, or it's being done through fundraising. But I guess my bigger question is, why are we doing field trips that have no educational value?
I think that philosophically, I don't know if I'd agree with it having no educational value.
Okay,
In the sense that for many students, it's getting them out, exploring a different community, a different setting, that might be their only exposure. They've got social interaction and those components. I mean, so they do, you know, one field trip a year at the different grade levels and they space them out. So, and the kids have some choice as well. Is this the band one or is this the 8th grade, the final
middle school
field? I think it's the 8th grade, end of 8th grade celebration field trip that they go and do that.
okay,
At the high school, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to have science day. And they would go to science day.
Oh, you mean Six Flags had signs?
Yeah.
Got it.
They do a physics.
Got it, okay, all right.
Yeah, but the Brewers game, the Six Flags, what's the sixth grade trail?
The Brewers one is the weather. team.
The weather
That's
ones,
sixth
right,
grade.
right.
Brewers in sixth grade,
Brewers is sixth grade, what's the seventh grade?
Adventureland, over by 94 and 50. whatever they're called.
Oh, okay,
Camp Timberlake.
action.
Action
territory.
Yeah, well, Kimberly is highly educational, so I have no problem with that.
They are more of a, those are more end of the year
Got
fun
it.
type
Okay,
event, but it is more of that community building and that
Sure.
culture piece, yeah.
yeah,
Is it sixth grade that wants to go to Six Flags? Because they had the choice between the Brewers, or one year they did roller skating in a movie. So they had a choice between their field trips.
The kids usually have two choices.
Mhm.
so at middle school, we're just doing one field trip, is that it?
No, they do
Or
more
they do
field
more.
trips, but I would say one field trip that at the end of the year that.
Got
fits
it.
in that type category.
At any point, do our kids at any grade level go to Old World, Wisconsin, or, okay,
Yes.
Yeah, we have at the K-5 level. Each grade level has certain targeted trips. We tried to align that, so if they were transferring schools, they weren't going to Old World, Wisconsin.
Sure.
2 years in a row, so. Fourth grade is Old World, Wisconsin, as well as the Capitol now, what fits with the curriculum.
Yep.
All grade 2 does the Milwaukee Public Museum.
Yep.
Grade 3 Discovery World.
okay,
Fifth grade, they do the art museum.
Mhm.
Last year they did another music event with the Milwaukee Symphony, but we're changing that for this year just based on how long it took us to get to
Sure.
Milwaukee and how short the event was, but
sure,
we've tried to just regulate that, so when they switch schools. And then each building reserves the right through their PTA to one group may go to the gymnastics center, or we use the pool at the high school. They'll do one home meeting and a fun activity at the end of the year that, we try to stay local, so those costs stay down, and they're younger, so that's.
Yeah. Okay, I just was, when I saw it, it just kind of stuck out at me. I just was a little, I just wanted to have a larger discussion.
That's a good question, yeah. I would say that's more of a fun and a culture building end of the year for eighth grade.
Sure.
Eighth grade.
Okay,
Although there are other ones where like the band has gone down and performed at Six Flags.
yeah,
So similar to Disneyland, which.
Yep. Yep. Yes, much. Significantly less. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, then, I'm looking for a motion to approve the general and other fund bills.
I move to approve the general and other fund bills of August 12th, 2024, check numbers 152,725 to 152,869. Wire numbers 113 to 126 and ACH numbers 028 to 067 in the combined amount of $741,022.37 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the general and other fund bills of August 12th, 2024, check numbers 152,725 to 152,869. Wire numbers 113 to 126 and ACH numbers 028 to 067 in the combined amount of $741,022.37. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on to the transportation contract revision.
All right, you'll see in your packet, Mr. Truman and myself, we met with the bus company and looking at our ridership and the space that they had on the bus. Also, the bus routes had not been adjusted for some time, so you had some routes that were running 18 minutes long and others that were pushing, over 40 minutes. So we asked them to revisit that, to balance out the routes. All of the ridership on our routes are still very low, but we are closer to where most of the routes are balanced at around 40 minutes to 30 minutes a piece on those routes. In doing so, they're able to do attrition and collapse 3 of those bus routes. So there are savings related to that. As part of that contract, though, they also have fixed costs and so forth that they need. So it's really a renegotiation of the contract. We felt it was best to have the board review that and do an approval on it. So overall, it is a
So this has gone through the transportation committee, right?
we did not have a
Oh, we
transportation
did not.
committee meeting on this.
Okay.
No. So, I mean, we could run it through the transportation committee. if we
No, I
wanted,
just wondered
so
if-
from it being a full contract, that we felt it was more of a board approval.
Okay.
So it does outline, we're going to be saving the district approximately $130,000 overall.
Is this part of the ad hoc suggestion?
It's included in the savings related, yeah.
So because we are doing 2 fewer days, that drops us below something, right? There's something part of the contract.
Correct. Our contract is based on 171
Right.
transportation days, so
So because we drop below, there's a 2% rate adjustment?
it's a negotiated in terms of the impact on their operational costs.
Okay.
So, and that's how they calculate it, was the 2%.
Okay,
So our contract doesn't state it would be a 2%, that
Oh.
basically just says that we would need to discuss the impact.
okay. So the 2 fewer days initially saves us 21.6, but then it costs us 48.8.
Well, and it's not because of just the 2 fewer days, it's also reducing by the 3 routes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the net savings is a 131.74. Because they're factoring, what are their fixed costs, what are their overhead costs, because those don't get reduced from
Right.
dropping. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay, hearing none, then I need a motion to revise the contract.
I'll move to revise the transportation contract with Durham School Services as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to revise the transportation contract with Durham School Services. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart,
Yes.
Mayor Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
When we initially approached them, we had asked them, to reduce by 2 routes. And they came back, I think, understanding that, and we let them know, we understand you have fixed costs and that overhead that you need to
Yeah.
account for. So they came back with the 3 route proposal, and doing so, it's not cutting anyone who currently has ridership off, it's not creating a walk zone or anything like that. If we, didn't have that funding or future cuts and so
Right.
forth, there's, could be significant changes, but in this aspect, some might have a little bit longer ride as they're all balanced out, redistricted, but service is still there. For
What was it?
current.
Budgeted in the
Yeah, we figured 110,000 for
Okay.
savings. So-
Okay, so we're actually exceeding that.
Correct.
Great. Sorry, I was. Okay, director's report, for Amy G and Sarah Bosch.
I know, we were in a tag team meeting, so we're,
Mouse and the keyboard.
sure, unless, do you wanna just get to the website?
I-
Let me do that, that would be great.
Oh,
I think that's the fastest he's ever been on this round of that.
I would like it when I get up there.
you what?
No, it's there.
Who wants to drive and she's up?
I think what we want to do is slide down here, go a little bit lower. So we're gonna highlight for the under departments, please. And then curriculum and instruction. So perfect, we'll stall there for just a minute. So we wanted to just highlight tonight information that of course has been shared with the curriculum council, may have been shared with our board members who were present last fall, as far as some revisions that really went on last summer throughout the 23-24 school year, and even some revisions that we've made in preparation for this year. And everything has been posted on the curriculum and instruction tab of our website. So you'll see here, we can just kind of briefly kind of go down that we share our profile of a graduate, followed by our 4 shared commitments, just some general information there. If we slide a little bit lower on here, you'll see that we have that notice of academic standards, redefining ready information, school board policies. Let's slide just a little lower just to make sure. All right, and we're going to just stop right here. Then we have an area that's called future ready curriculum. One of the stipulations of the new law, Act 20, which is our early literacy law, was that every district by the end of August of this year needed to have their early literacy plan posted on their website, so that parents who had questions about that, anything about how our ELA instruction in grades 4K through grade 3 could be found right here. So you'll see as we scroll here, all of the black tabs there meet all of those requirements as far as what needs to be available for parents. It goes into things such as like family notifications, the timeliness of those that were within a 15-day window, all of those things like that, how we're going to be using the data. If you click on 4K through grade 3 ELA instruction, this again also highlights what needs to be present. If we keep going down a little bit more, here it just kind of talks about what resources we use at a snapshot glance. And if we keep going, if you click on curriculum crosswalk, that was the other thing that we had to have available to families. And so this breaks down our 4K through grade 3 curriculum. We went even further to include all of our elementary information. And then there's links in there that we can go through, but we had to go through and prove how it provides both systematic and explicit instruction in all of these 9 areas. And so that's what's contained there. And we certainly aren't here to talk about that tonight, but I just want to let you know that this site is providing us with that platform that we need to have all of this information available and well organized for parents should they look for that. All right, so Jason, if we can work our way out of that, what we're going to do now is slide back up and off to the right. Under curriculum, you'll see that we've also divided these into grade level clusters. And so Jason, if you just maybe want to pick one of those to click into. So starting already with 4-year-old kindergarten through 5th grade, we created for the district last year, working in collaboration with our grade level teachers, what we call our 1-pagers. Now our 1-pagers are technically 2 pages, but it does fit on one piece of paper. Yeah, well, the website has a bonus page, so anyhow. So when our families come in for open house, be that at the 4K sites or the elementary classrooms, part of what is in their welcome to that grade level packet would be a hard copy of what you see on the screen as well, so that they kind of get an overview of what resources we'll be using just at a glance, some of the core standards that we'll be covering. And it often parents are like, great, this is wonderful information. It includes a little snapshot also about the allied arts and what skills we'll be covering there. And so this just kind of lays that foundational information. They can also then click on the code there if they want to go on. Here's the 3rd page that you can see here that we've just started in collaboration with our grade level teachers as far as additional resources that families can then seek out that are age appropriate for their students. So that's the 3rd page add-on that obviously we're not including here because those are links.
I would add that if a parent wants, materials are copyrighted and so forth, but if a parent wants to come in and say, well, I'd like to see the US geography curriculum, they can contact Amy, or they could contact the teacher and they could, inspect it in person or look at any of the materials in hard copy format.
Yes, and we have had those meetings before, and typically once a parent has walked through those, many of those resources also go home with the student in that case, and so that tends to alleviate any questions that come up. In addition to this, at the elementary level, most teachers send out a little weekly narrative as to what has happened in the classroom, and that's where we'll zero in more on specific skills that were taught in science, or we're in the middle of this unit in Project Lead the Way. You could probably follow any Facebook page from our classroom teachers as well, and they've always has lots of photos showcasing what's happening. In fact, that's where I think our high schoolers pull a lot of their information from, is from our either school Facebook pages or the teachers, which is wonderful. So there's ongoing communication throughout the year, either in the information sent by the building principal on a monthly basis. Typically it's weekly. It may come by teacher or by grade level collaboratively, that information is also pushed out to families, and that gives a more fine snapshot of what's being covered that week, and perhaps it projects as to what's coming in the following week. We also have a daily planner that goes home with our students beginning first and third grade, which is part of our AVID skill development, where they may write down, okay, these were the objectives for today, my I can statements that I'm working on. Oh, we have a field trip coming up, that might be in there, things like that, where we're starting that organizational skill. We also clone that, and in kindergarten, first and second grade, there's like a communication log that then goes back and forth, and it's usually a 2-week, 1 week is on this page, 1 week is on this side. On cardstock, teachers can put in a reminder of like when they have art and music and PE, as far as, are they sending the students with tennis shoes that day? And that is a wonderful communication tool, because just as the assignment notebook, a parent can put a note in there like, my child will be picked up tonight, they're not to ride the bus. A student, who is a bit younger, the parents can communicate right on there too, and teachers can write, friendly comments and put stickers as well. So that serves as our kind of training ground for parents to check the folder. We have this 2-way communication going that feeds into the assignment notebook, and then as they move into the middle school, that communication then continues with the student. So with that, I'm going to hand the baton to Sarah.
Sarah Bausch, 612 Director of Instruction. I'm here to talk about the middle school and the high school part of the website, which looks a little bit different just because the nature of the beast is a little bit different. So the middle school, what we developed for the website was a course guide to emulate what happens at the high school, so that families can go in for each course, and what they can do is click on the course that their student is in, and then they can see a course outline for that particular course, which goes through the learning targets, which come from those standards that you adopted just a month ago. And so those are written in student-friendly language, and it'll show you each one of the units that are in the courses, and then every learning target that those students will go through the course of the year, or 6 weeks or 12 weeks, depending upon the course at the middle school. So we have courses here for the core, and then of course the allied arts as well. So that is,
so beyond the learning targets, they're not really able to see much else. Is that correct?
Actually, no.
Okay.
From the website,
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
From the website, yes.
Yep.
But then at the middle school, most of our teachers have either a Google Classroom or a learning map, or both. So parents can log in to Google Classroom through their students login, and they're able to see every presentation, every assignment, every detail that happens in the classroom. The learning maps are a little bit different. They're a weekly guide of what's going to happen with those links for families, and that's communicated out by the teachers on a weekly basis to families.
Okay.
In addition to all of the different courses, we also have on the website for the middle school, the academic and career planning lessons that happen grades 6 through 8. So that you can kind of see specifically what's going to happen in each one of those lessons, the learning target for that lesson, what the teachers or the counselor is going to do in that lesson, and then what families can do to help guide that process of exploring careers and kind of figuring out what your future is going to look like. Questions about the middle school level? Okay. All right, then moving on to the high school, again, looks pretty much the same, except the courses just quadruple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since Mr. Cruz is here, we'll go into ag sciences. And you'll see here, there's a course description, just like at the middle school. And then there's a course outline for each one of the classes. Again, the learning targets that are developed by the teachers that come from those standards that were adopted by the school board. Again, all the units that are in each one of the courses, and then every one of those learning targets. We obviously don't print these out like the elementary does because, well, that would be kind of crazy because students' schedules are all different. And so you would have all kinds of copies of things that we would have to organize, and that's a lot. So anyway, you can see here in the course guide, all of the courses, well, I should say most. We have some stragglers yet that we're still working on for some of the courses. But also at the high school, we have the academic and career planning lessons that happen during SST. Oh, shoot, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. There we go.
SST.
Student success time. It's 20 minutes during every Tuesday, where students have their academic and career. Formerly called WIN, formerly called Flex Time, formerly called
Homeroom.
Yes, homeroom, yes.
It's almost as bad as the face part, which is a company.
Yes, it's not.
Sorry.
No.
For home ec.
Yeah, don't say that either.
Yeah.
Okay. Here. Family and consumer science. There you go. Okay, so just like at the middle school, the lesson, what the students will do as far as learning target goes, what the counselors or the teacher will be doing during SST. Oh, we got to stretch that out so that he fits, and then what families can do to engage their student with what is happening in that lesson. Just like at the middle school, our teachers are weekly communicators with families about what's happening in their classes. They usually do that through Skyward Messenger. And also all of our teachers at the high school have a Google Classroom where families can log in with their students, log in and be able to access presentations, assignments, all the details. And of course, they can always email the teachers as well.
We have had parents ask in the past, can I just have my own login to log into my kids' Google Classroom? And we can't do that from a licensing standpoint. So they just need to be the parent and tell the kid if they want to log into their Google Classroom to, I need your username and password, and then they can log in through there.
And also there's proprietary things too, that keeps that protected from being out there on the internet if we had it just posted out here. So
Can you share, I love the new career pathway and those course guides for their planning, those documents.
would you like to look at this one?
So these are designed to help students in their planning and so forth for their academic planning. And these are the different pathways, and then within each of these pathways, sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, you guys.
Well.
Can you go back to how you got here? Where?
Cool. Okay. So, yes, go to menu.
Yeah.
Scroll down, go to the Elkworks. Actually, you can probably get here 100 different ways.
Yeah.
By the way, yeah.
Elkworks.
I just went that way. Yep. And if
Okay.
you scroll down, you go to Elkworks Pathways.
Okay.
And then, I think we have 17 or 16. I haven't counted. But anyway, most recently, I should say, I haven't counted most recently. But anyway, when you click on these, they share what classes students can take at the high school and then what students' classes can take at Gateway. And then what that could potentially lead to in taking those courses. So we have those 16 or 17 different pathways that kind of just share with students if they're interested in that career area, how to basically make the most of high school and maximize their potential for leading towards some sort of degree or certification or both or whatever that pathway might lead to.
And it'll tell what credential they'll earn as a result of going through.
Yep.
That's cool.
Sarah, are there, is this resource communicated in any way to parents? I mean, is there, because I just feel like there's probably a lot of parents that don't even know this exists.
So with the website just being created last year,
Yeah,
I don't know how many families are aware of it. I know it's like linked and maybe mentioned, especially during course registration time. Our kids used it during course registration time because it was awesome for them, because when they're trying to select courses, they were really able to dig in more and see, oh, what is this course about? I want to see if I am interested in it.
yeah,
So that's how it was communicated with families, but we haven't done anything like formal.
yeah.
Same with the career pathways. The career pathways are actually in the teachers' classrooms on posters. So the kids are familiar with them more than maybe the families.
Yeah, because I just think you guys have spent so much time and effort.
And the teachers have spent time. Yes.
Yes, and the teachers to make this happen, I think somehow we need to, whether it's through an email from, or some
open house maybe.
or even, I'm thinking, if somebody sits down and does a narrative and a video of click here.
Wouldn't Mr. Keel love to do that? He loves videos. He always makes fun of me when I make videos. Sorry, no.
So
I can't wait for him to hear.
you know, just a YouTube video, and the parent can go to the YouTube video. This is how you find this information. This is, you know, like kind of a tutorial.
Like a little loom and get that pushed up.
Yeah, and get it pushed out, because it's
Yeah,
an
this-
amazing
this right.
resource.
Love
It's a huge,
You'd be hilarious. Yeah, and Mr. Scarrow just said part of freshman orientation,
Yes.
you know, like.
Well, and then a refresher and a reminder that it's there too, because.
Well,
yeah,
and not even maybe at the high school, just the high school, but also the middle school, because it
Absolutely.
mirrors what happens, so then our families will
Absolutely.
carry it.
Right.
At all levels, just because I would hate to have so much time invested in something like this, which is, it's a wonderful resource, and thank you, because it's been asked for a long time, and you guys have done it. I just don't think the community is aware that
It might lessen your emails also too.
Right,
So,
Yeah.
it's the depth and the breadth of it that, you know, parents need to be aware that it's there and to utilize it.
Yeah.
You know.
I sat down with 2 prospective families 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And, you know, this is where I went to the Elkworks page.
Yep.
Here's the pathways, their prospective families for high school, and just shared, you can
Yep.
access all of this. I might be out there, but I haven't seen other districts with this level of depth and breadth on
yeah, I
the
agree. This
resources
is
that are there in
amazing.
career pathways.
Yeah.
And they were blown away. They went and
Yeah.
did their tours of the other buildings, and I'm certain they'll be, coming and joining us now.
We can definitely brainstorm other ways to get that out there.
Yeah, I'd like to see that pushed out more for
Alright.
families' awareness.
Sarah, this is awesome. This is
Yeah, really
yeah,
good,
kudos
really good stuff.
to you guys.
To everybody.
To everybody,
Really cool.
yeah.
I forgot how to get there already, but I'll watch the video.
Yeah, parents need video.
I'm good with the flow charts.
Exactly.
That's, all right.
No crumbs, yeah.
That's, yeah, just.
I even think
I'll see if I
maybe,
can put something together for you, like after tomorrow.
maybe even a statement on the website for parents who want to go deeper and want to see, have more information. Just that statement on there. If you desire to have complete access to everything, all materials that your child is seeing, you need to talk with your student and get their sign-in information and sign into their Google Classroom, and you'll have full access. It just.
Oh, like
state
a
it on the
comment on
website.
here, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
state it on the website, like,
For
this
sure.
is how you go deeper.
Mhm.
If you wanna see everything.
Okay.
It even a statement like that might just
Well-
reduce the number of calls to a teacher or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I would prefer them to check that first, and if they have questions.
Yeah,
Right,
Well,
exactly.
right,
And
right.
all of our teachers are posting that learning target list in their syllabus.
Mhm.
So that is going out to families at the beginning of
Yep.
every course,
Yep.
so.
And I do want to be clear too, especially when we get into 6th through 12th grade, especially 9th through 12th grade.
Yeah.
Education changes to where, like, Mr. Cruz his degree is agricultural science, and
Yep.
that's his expertise and
Yep.
background. And what we find at that 9-12 level, just like Garrett Gordon, they're not necessarily reliant upon a canned curriculum.
Right,
They're content specialists and experts. And so I don't want to restrict them to, hey, show me your printed curriculum. I want them to take advantage and be constructivists and look at, here's the learning opportunity that I'm working with my
Yep.
students, and create those rich, relevant opportunities for them. That's why we do leave it more open and here's the learning
Yep.
target. The road they take to get there, I want those teachers to have that place.
of course.
Especially when they get to that level. And so it's not if you ever have a parent that asks, well, I want to see, your entire curriculum for this course, I would have a concern if that teacher can pull out a folder and say, here's what we're doing for the entire year.
Sure,
Well, then that tells me you're not taking advantage of learning opportunities that are coming up. You're not modifying or adjusting it to
It's
the
not
kids in your
responsible.
class. It's not
Yeah.
responsive. Yeah. So that's where it is important to stay up on if you want to see in real time,
right,
the Google Classroom and
Yep.
looking and checking.
absolutely.
You're good.
Any other questions or comments or concerns?
So here's, we need to shout this from the rooftops and get that out more.
Yes,
All right.
yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to come tonight.
And thanks to all the staff. It really is. The culmination of a work of all hands on deck across the board with the teachers, the
Yep.
curriculum directors, of course, Chris helps with that too. So it's a lot of parties. All right.
Okay, moving on to the referendum update.
In regards to the referendum update, the board, did pass made the motions and approved the motions at the last meeting to follow the ad hoc committee recommendations. We began work on developing a informational website for the community. So that the relevant information related to the referendum can be published on that site. That's getting close to being completed. And we've begun to lay out the schedule for the different meetings, different community groups. We worked with the admin team at the admin retreat to identify what are the different informational meeting opportunities that we should consider to make sure that people have the facts in front of them. So I would say that's where we're at in the initial stages, also working on what's called the one pager, which is just the fact sheet to show how the
Okay. First reading of the modifications to the professional and support staff employee handbooks.
The personnel committee did meet and reviewed the recommendations from our human resources supervisor that these would be changes to the employee handbook. In particular with CCA, we began to have more employees that are contracted on 215 days instead of 100 and is it A7 in a traditional contract. So there are some recommendations to adjust the time off to be reflective of that longer amount of time, such as hours for paid sick leave and so forth. The reporting procedure, just putting in a disclaimer there or a note, just reiterating to employees that there may be situations where a supervisor would request, or it's appropriate for them to request the doctor's note. In their, as it relates to their absences for PTO. Also, the ability that they have to, you know, put in some blackout days and so. Again, this PTO provision is related to the 215-day employees. 187-day employees have 2 days of PTO. This is granting one more day of PTO for those individuals. There's a discussion around a prorated amount based on how, you know, many additional days that is. Just for transparency, the prorated amount is more like a 2.2. But we felt like breaking it down in the hours and so forth, it didn't make a lot of sense. So we did round that up, which I know that's not proper math rounding, but we granted the 3 days.
It had to do with substitute time and the availability of getting a half-day sub, and you know, those were all things that got discussed.
And these are traditionally they've been more challenging positions to fill, as it's most of these 215-day contracts are at the CCA because they go 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and so they're teaching in the summer. Where it precludes them from working, you know, in the summer or another. That's probably been the single biggest obstacle, but this year we had a really rich candidate pool, which was exciting.
Good.
To have this year. And then PTO restrictions, again, this is just, this wasn't, how do I put it, tenable, the way it was structured, it was a little confusing, where there'd be no more than 2 custodians per day. Is that district wide? Is that who's keeping track of who's at attendance? So this is just new language that would clarify that and take away that 2 restriction, but really empower the supervisors to manage that staff better. That's
just under 10.3 there, a word needs to be, will needs to get taken out or struck. No, may is fine if that's what the language was changed to, but that just needs to get struck.
Will may.
Yeah.
Anything else?
So looking for, is this a first reading? Okay, yeah, so we don't need to do anything with that.
Okay.
So if you have any further comments, make sure that you communicate with Mr. Tadlock on that before the next meeting. Recommendations of the district administrator for personnel.
Right, a lot of personnel. I think we're approaching to where we're close to fully staffed from the professional staff end. We're fully staffed as far as what we're going with in this school year. There may be, are there a few more support staff positions filled, but yeah. Any questions on the personnel sheet other than?
Have we been able to fill or close to filling the custodian positions that
we're setting up interviews for Friday?
Okay, good. Yeah, so looking for a motion to approve the personnel recommendation sheet.
I move to approve the personal recommendation sheet for August 12th, 2024, including new employment contracts conditioned upon passing the background check and district mandated drug screening as presented.
Fair second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for August 12th, 2024, including new employment contracts conditioned upon passing the background check and district mandated drug screening. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. And school gifts is next.
The school gifts, we already went through the FFA gift.
Yep.
We also have an additional gift to present. The Green Bay Packers have donated $1,000 to the youth football.
Who?
Green Bay Packers.
The NFL team that's the most wins in history.
Oh.
I didn't hit up about theirs. I don't know if there was some up here, but
CFL team.
not opposed to it.
I move to accept the generous school gift as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the generous school gift from the Green Bay Packers. Excuse me, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No, no opposition from the.
I wanted to, but then I just.
I know,
had
there's
some
a good
choice.
Yeah.
Not by choice, but.
It's for the kids.
All right, second reading of Act 95, the Wisconsin Guarantee Tiebreaker Policy. We looked at that for the first time at the last meeting.
Yep, and I have not had any suggested changes since then. We did talk about, we modified that to add the lottery to be conducted to break the.
Oh, that's right.
It's still tight at 6 decibels. What happened?
You laugh, but it could happen.
Yes.
I mean, if they have the exact same grade, it's going to happen. If they're tied at 3, I
Yep.
would guess it'd be tied at 6.
Yep.
All right. So that's ready for.
Yeah, so we're just looking for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the Act 95 Wisconsin Guarantee Tiebreaker Policy as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the Act 95 Wisconsin Guarantee Tiebreaker Policy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, motion passes. You have some announcements, Mr. Tyler?
Yeah, we'd like to schedule a transportation committee meeting. I know Kyle, you already responded, we were wondering if September 9th at noon would work for the transportation committee members, and the second option would be at 5 o'clock.
So works with you.
Both work, so.
Yeah, so me too. So it's up to Heather.
Yeah.
All right, we'll check with Heather.
Yeah.
She may have a word count, we may need to do the 5 o'clock.
Yeah, she might have
Okay.
one.
And then I just wanted to give a big shout out to alum Peyton Jacobson for representing the community in the Olympics. I know we're all extremely proud of him, and just, you know, the fact making it to that point and the effort that it took to get there, that's amazing. And then I'm also going to give a special shout out, since I know the parent went it, but Kaylee Anzalone
Oh, yes.
just completed boot camp, and she was recognized as the top graduate from her battle group, which was 200 cadets.
Yes.
So she was given that on as the top
Exciting.
performer, so
Yeah, very cool.
congrats to Kaylee.
Yes.
And John, if I massacred what the recognition was, go ahead and speak up.
No, I can't remember the whole thing half the time. I appreciate you recognizing that. Thank you.
Very exciting. Thank you, Kaylee, for her service.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, vote. Vote.
Vote.
Vote. Yes.
Oh.
My other
Vote
announcement,
tomorrow.
vote, do your civic duty, yep, vote. So looking for an adjournment for our closed session. Or going to closed session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the contemplated closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent G, to confer with legal counsel regarding strategy with respect to a lawsuit filed against the school district. The school board will not reconvene into open session.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent G, to confer with legal counsel regarding strategy with respect to a lawsuit filed against the district. The school board will not reconvene in open session. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart.
Yes.
Ms. Air Gordon.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.